Morning everyone, it's Mrs. Williams here again. It's Monday, and of course normally on Monday we would be sharing our whole school assembly. We do have a few more children in school at the moment. We've got our reception and year 1 and year 6 children in school, so there are a few more children in school, but unfortunately we're still not able to gather together in the hall. We still have to socially distance, and we still have to keep in our bubbles, so all our children are in their own individual bubbles. But we're going to share an assembly together virtually rather than all together physically in the hall. So I'm going to record our assembly again this morning, and hopefully you can share it. And you can share it as many times as you like. I know some of you like to watch it more than once. So it's lovely to be with you all again. Lovely to be back in school. And I'm just wondering if you can remember what our theme was before we broke up for the holidays, and before we went into lockdown, in fact. Maybe you can. I'll give you a minute to think about it, and I'm sure some of you are putting your hands up now for your teachers, and some of you are putting your hands up for your parents maybe even. So whatever it is you practice gets stronger. So we need to practice those 3 things: peace, love and kindness all the time, because the more you practice those things, the more it'll become habitual to you, the more you'll just do it automatically without even thinking. It'll be second nature. So our story this morning, it actually has the title Unselfishness, which is quite a clumsy way of saying something, to be unselfish. Most people would say, oh, such-body is selfish, but you wouldn't normally call somebody unselfish. You would simply call them kind or generous. But the title of the story is Unselfishness, and it's a story that's told in the Buddhist religion, about a lady that demonstrates absolute kindness to an extreme degree, really, and it's just something that maybe you'd like to think about this morning. Okay, so here's the story. One day, the Buddha arrived in a town and said, "I'm collecting presents to give to the poor. If you have something you could give away to help the poor or to help the needy, please bring it to me today. I'm going to sit here under this tree and wait for all your gifts." So the Buddha, in his saffron yellow robes, settled himself down under the shade of the banyan tree at the edge of the town and just waited. The people scurried away to their homes to search for things to bring to the Buddha, to give to the poor and to give to the needy. Well, very soon a long procession of people was wending its way through the narrow streets of the town in a queue towards the seated Buddha. Every person in the queue was carrying something from his or her home to give away to the Buddha. There were parcels, packages of all shapes and sizes. There were baskets of gifts, presents wrapped in long rolls of cloth, and even the king and the queen were there. They carried small parcels, but their servants, they were laden with gifts to give to the Buddha. The Buddha, sitting under the shade of the banyan tree, looked at the people with all of their gifts and said, "How kind you are! How good it is that you all give so much to help the poor people of our country. Please put your gifts here next to me under the shade of this tree." The king was the first to step forward. "I have brought a casket of fine jewels," he said, handing the seated Buddha a jewel-encrusted box. "My servants, they have brought furniture made of the finest silver and gold," he added very importantly. "Thank you," said the Buddha from the place beneath the tree. "Please put the things here at my side," and he pointed to the place that he meant. The king stood aside and smiled at the waiting queue of people, as if to say, "Look at all the wonderful things that I have brought. How kind am I?" Then the queen stepped forward. "I have brought beautiful cloth for the people to wear," she said. "Look, it has gold and silver threads in it. All my servants are carrying even more cloth. I've brought you the best cloth from the whole of the palace." And she stood aside as if to say, "Haven't I brought the most wonderful gifts?" "Thank you," said the Buddha, from his place beneath the tree. "Please put the things here by my side," and he pointed again to the place. Then one by one the rest of the people in the queue stepped forward and gave the Buddha their gifts. There were many precious things given, for there were many rich people living in this town, and each time the Buddha received a gift he said thank you from his place beneath the tree. At the end of the day, the pile of gifts was as high as the tree itself. Everybody seemed to have brought a gift, and everybody seemed to have given a present. Everyone, that is, except for one very, very old lady. And she shuffled towards the Buddha. Her torn clothes were flapping, and she held out a pomegranate. "Please, please take this," she whispered. "I was going to eat this pomegranate, but when I heard that you were collecting for the poor, I think I'd like to give it to you instead. It's nothing much, but I haven't got anything else to give." And she gave the Buddha the pomegranate and turned to go away. But the Buddha stood up, took hold of her hands and said, "Stay, sit by me, and I want to really, really thank you. Lots of people have given lots of gifts today, but you have given more than anybody." The king and the queen and all the other people who were watching got very angry with the Buddha when they heard this. "What do you mean?" they said. "We've given more than just a silly pomegranate." "Listen," said the Buddha. "You've given just a small share of what it is that you own. This woman, she's given everything she owns. She has nothing else left. She's given more than any of you. She's given everything she has." Hands together, eyes closed. Teach us, Lord, not to be selfish. Teach us to think of others, not just ourselves. Teach us, like the old woman in the story, to give what we can to help. Amen. Kindness doesn't have to be a big, big gesture like the king and the queen, delivering gold and silver and coins. Kindness doesn't have to be like that. Kindness is just the smallest thing that you can do to make somebody else happy, to make somebody else smile, to give somebody else the chance that they might not ordinarily have. Little tiny acts of kindness. And you can do that. And I know that you are doing it, and I know that you're out in the community doing it, and I know that you're doing it with your friends, and I know that you're doing it for your teachers. And keep practicing it, keep doing it, because the more you do it, the more natural it will become. So at the end of our assembly we normally lead out, but not before we've shouted one great big chant back at Mrs. Williams. So I'm in my office, and around school I want to hear the echo as I say to you, who is ready to learn, sparkle and shine. Have a lovely, lovely day. Enjoy your learning. Anybody who's at home watching and hasn't yet picked up a homeschool pack, please come into the office and we've got them all ready for you. And those of you that are in school, have a lovely rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I might just pop round and look at you through your bubbles. See you soon.